And I was with a counselor for my children recently, and I didn't even know if I could trust them, and so I just asked some really frank questions. How many genders are there? And I just wanted to gauge, should I even have this person, as a psychologist looking and listening and talking to my children at all? Or have they joined the madness bandwagon as well? What we don't think about, we think about our teachers. We don't think about our counselors. Alvin Louie is the president of Courage is a Habit. He's a guy who got out of California just in time, only to move his family to the Midwest and realize, oh, crap, it's happening here, too. Welcome to the program, Alvin. How are you?
I'm doing good, Glenn. It's such an honor to be here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I wanted you on because I wanted to talk about a couple of things. Courage, which is your philosophy on it is just spot on. But also, you're talking about the school counselors are perhaps even more trouble, or just an invisible trouble that we don't really see.
You're absolutely right. And they're not invisible as much as they're just hiding in plain sight. Because you see, the parents believe that these school counselors and social workers are just like the guidance counselors of the past that they grew up with, help you with academics, maybe talk to you a little bit if there's something bothering you, but then really bring the parents in if there's something serious. But that ship's long sailed. And so the school counselors and the social workers today are the largest purveyors of the transgender cult and of critical race theory. They are more dangerous than the teachers and even the school board members because they control the culture of the entire school. And they're the ones that's in the back wagging their fingers, talking about the pronouns and the debt naming and all those things. And so they come from an organization called the American School Counselor Association, or ASCA, ASCA for short. And that they do all the missions, all the objectives and trainings for all counselors from K through 12. They have a chapter in all 50 states.
Do you have, if you're a school counselor, do you have to belong to that organization?
You do not. You don't have to join. It's a private organization, which is where the real deviousness comes in, Glenn, because this is a private company impacting public education, where the parents have they can't say, I'm going to FOIA, I'm going to, for those of you who know, it's the record request, open record request, to say, let me see what your counselors are being trained under with ASCA. The schools who go, that's got nothing to do with us. And so because of this private-public scam there, what we did last summer was our team went to their annual conference, ASCA's, the American School Counselor Association. They had an annual conference in July of last year. And we grabbed as many of their videos, PowerPoints, training materials. Since then, we've also went to their webinars, their certifications.
What did you find?
We found exactly what we knew for them to be, which is they're huge in the transgender ideology. They are all about keeping secrets from parents. They train them to keep secret. They train the counselors on how to gaslight parents, how to move the goalposts, and largely Courage is a Habit. If anybody goes to courageisahabit.org, we have a whole series there called Behind Closed Doors. And it's our campaign to expose them in their own natural habitat. We're not making it up. We're not editing it. We're not cobbling things together. We're literally just showing their training materials and videos in their own natural habitat. And then most importantly, we give parents tools on how to fight back, opt-out forms, how to move around the gaslighting, how to ask the right questions, how to put some pressure back so that they're not just sitting there getting, well, what's the matter? You don't like inclusion? What's the matter? You don't like diversity, and all those gaslighting things.
So I was looking at your guide to defending your child, and you have 8 questions? I think 10 questions, 10 different questions that parents should ask, and
right.
I mean, they're so common sense, but It's so weird because I am so informed on some things, but then I go out into the real world. I have no idea how to do any of, you just don't. You were raised to think, and your model as a parent were your parents. And if you think you're unequipped, they were wildly unequipped for what's happening right now. And you just don't know. So I appreciate this. But there are questions like, do you use in-class surveys to collect data on students? That is so important. Can you explain why?
The data mining that they do on your children is how they justify more radical ideology. So when a parent goes in and says, hey, why are you doing this? Why are you pushing this? This has nothing to do with academics. What they will often hear is the school telling them, this is evidence-based. This is data-driven. Research shows. And the parents are going, oh, okay, I guess. They have no idea where that's coming from, and the schools don't tell them. What they mean is these surveys that they're getting on your kids. Now, the mistake that parents make is they go, well, let me see the questions. It doesn't matter, Glenn. It doesn't matter what the questions are. It matters how they interpret the data.
Right.
So, for example, if they ask a child, how often do you have dinner at home with your parents during the week? They go, it's pretty innocuous. But they know that if a child says 1 or 0, they're more vulnerable to be moved into certain things like the transgender ideology.
And this is what I learned from you and your organization. This is what's really happening. Our kids are being put into 2 categories, a safe category or a vulnerable category, right? It's a judgment on us, the parents.
Right. And so the school counselors, they're redefining 2 terms. Because if you redefine words, you don't have to change the laws. And so the 2 terms that they're redefining, the school counselors and the social workers, are safe and abuse. So up to this point, everybody knows what an unsafe environment means for a child. But they've now redefined and expanded that term to say, if you don't succumb to the transgender delusion, if you don't call them by the pronouns, you're unsafe, you're abusive, you, the parents. Then once they get the parents to that, they move the goalposts and go, well, if you don't agree with the breast binders or tucking, now you're unsafe, and then you're abusive. They're going to kill themselves. And then they keep moving them and then the child gets on that train to puberty blockers, and then of course the surgeries. And so one of the things that we say very often is they're not really brainwashing the kids first. They brainwash the parents first. Because if you don't brainwash the parents, every parent knows how to defend their child. We've been doing this since the beginning of time. Parents have crossed oceans and deserts to defend their children. So why can't parents do it today? And one of the things that they do very well is language contamination. So, for example, you can say, if I tell you, Glenn, hey, I'm teaching my child empathy. Well, even though you and I just met, you kind of know what I'm talking about. But that's not what they mean. When they talk about empathy, they mean training girls from a very young age so that when a man showers next to them, they better have empathy. So the question I want to leave your listeners or parents is that every time they tell you we're just doing X, I want you to ask this one question. Through whose lens are you teaching that? Because that lens matters, because traits are not good or bad. It depends on who's using them. For example, a serial killer, you can say he's great at goal setting. You and I and everybody else all talk about set goals. But what? A serial killer, he sets goals. Sometimes he exceeds his goals. But we don't say he sets goals. He's a good goal setter. Because traits are not good or bad. It depends on who's teaching it. And today, with these counselors and woke school teachers, they're not teaching those values the same thing that you think they are. And that's how they're getting parents. That's how they're fooling parents, is through language contamination.
Alvin Louie, I'd love to have you back on, Alvin, because, again, your organization is Courage is a Habit. You can go to courageisahabit.org. But courage is what is absolutely needed right now. It is not only a habit, it is contagious. We need to exercise this muscle, and more of us need to be courageous. And it's not that hard once you start. So I'd like to have you back on and talk about courage if you would join me again.
I would be honored to be back. And I invite everyone to visit courageisahabit.org. Support us. Every support comes right back to our work. And we provide these tools for the average parent, because we know the average parent don't have 50 hours a week.
They don't.
To dig through all these things, and that's what we do for you, and that's hopefully that's what we do for the average parent.
Thank you so much, Alvin. Alvin Louie, courageisahabit.org. org.